You're listening to the England Pod. We are all England all the time. We're a couple of weeks out from the September international break. We have reflected on England's big win in Serbia. We have predicted Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad for next summer on the feed. And now it's time for a youth update because we love to follow and keep you guys updated with all things England youth teams. And well, it was a very, very strong international break across 5 teams from under-21s down to under-17s. England won 9 games, drew 1 and lost just the 1 game. Now, because it's a new season, that means new cycles as well. That means changes in eligibility and perhaps most notably with the England under-21s. Lee Carsley has won the Euros with 2 separate groups of England youngsters, and now we get a new look side as well. We'll go through that squad, but also I'll tell you about an under-19s squad packed with some stars playing well above their age group. You'll have heard of Max Dowman. You'll have seen Dowman Ngumoha scoring a winning goal in the Premier League already this season for Liverpool, and there's plenty to touch on there. The under-18s are the group that will be heading to the Under-17 World Cup in November. I'll run you through some of the names there. And the Under-17s had a crazy camp, which ended with a 7-5 win in Germany. I'm going to tell you in particular about a youngster called Kavuma-McQueen, with thanks to my friend and England youth football expert Joe Fairs for his help with some of the info that forms the basis of this bulletin. Let's get into it. Carsley's all-conquering under-21s went to Kazakhstan and won by 2-0. The goal scored by Nwaneri, a really nice knockdown from debutant Divine Mbama on loan at Stoke from Manchester City. His strong start to the season in red and white at Stoke reflected in a deserved and frankly predictable call-up to the under-21 squad. With the number 9 spot, certainly not an area of strength at this level or at this age group over the last few years. Mbama knocked it down for Nwaneri to spank one home from the edge of the box where he is unbelievably dangerous. Job Bellingham headed home a Tyler Dibbling corner for 2-0. Let's look at the squad. Let's look at the starting 11. It was just the 1 game that they played here. The new cycle I always find looks a bit weird because you become very used to and quite attached to the lads, for example, that won the Euros in the summer. But of course, the way that it works is some of them become ineligible. Some of them remain eligible and will be the senior players, I guess, over the next year or two as we look to win 3 Euros in a row in 2 summers' time, the summer of 2027. Beadle was in goal. The winning goalkeeper of the Euros is still available to Carsley, and it's his spot to lose. The back 4 was Brooke Norton-Cuffy and Archie Gray, and Jack Hinshelwood played left back. All were out in Slovakia at the Euros, and Joshua Achampong of Chelsea played alongside Archie Gray as a centre-back. In midfield, it was Job Bellingham of Dortmund, Lewis Miley of Newcastle United, and a front 4 of Tyler Dibbling of Everton, Ethan Nwaneri of Arsenal, Jamie Gittins of Chelsea behind Divine Mbama, as mentioned, on loan at Stoke from Man City. We saw some under-21 debuts here. Achampong, as mentioned, but Mbama as well. But off the bench, we had Ashley Phillips, who's Mbama's teammate at Stoke on loan from Spurs, Saidi Peck, Tommy Watson and Romain Essa all came off the bench for their debuts. The initial squad did have Rico Lewis and Nico O'Reilly in it. Manchester City youngsters both pulled out due to injuries, but obviously O'Reilly has been a standout performer for City in their last few games. The senior group here, in terms of caps and experience at the Euros, is Archie Gray, who is not only eligible for this cycle, but also will be eligible for the next under-21 cycle, which is pretty crazy. He's the most capped player in the squad with 14, with Beadle 13, Gittins 12, albeit missed out on the Euros due to the Club World Cup. Then Hinshelwood with 11, Norton-Cuffy with 10, Nwaneri only 18, has 9 caps already, and then you get to Job Bellingham with 5. Lewis Miley and Tyler Dibbling both missed the Euros. They have 3 caps. And then we've got a big group of players like the debutants I mentioned, and then 6 players that didn't manage to get on the pitch against Kazakhstan. but were called up. Max Allain of Watford on loan from Man City, Thierry Small of Preston North End, Kellen Fisher of Norwich, Ben Nelson, the centre-back from Leicester City, Will Lancashire, who's made a goal-scoring start on loan at Oxford from Tottenham Hotspur, and Tyreek George, who is continuing to pick up minutes from Chelsea. So quite a few Championship loanees from top-tier clubs and academies making it into this squad. And as mentioned, not only can we see the players that will be potentially attacking the 2027 Under-21 Euros, but also still eligible in 2029 if they haven't graduated to the senior team by then, will be Josh Ashampong, Archie Gray, Lewis Miley, Tyler Dibbling, Tyreek George, Ethan Nwaneri, and more, which is pretty crazy and just shows the talent that we have in this squad. That was our first game of the qualifiers for the Euros. We've got Moldova away and Andorra at Pride Park to come in October. In November, it's just been announced that the game against Republic of Ireland will be played at St Andrews in Birmingham, which could be real fun on a Friday night. And I would recommend going to that one if you're in the area, if you're free. The group has Slovakia and Ireland. They both have 6 points from their 2 games. We've got the 1 game, 1 win. Then there's Moldova, Kazakhstan and Andorra, who we should be expecting to dominate against. Slovakia and Ireland will be, you'd think, the toughest tests for Carsley's men, or Carsley's boys, in qualifying. Right, how about the under-20s? They are back to being called England under-20s after having a brief spell called the England Men's Elite League squad. And they are managed by Ben Futcher. They lost 2-1 to Italy in Chesterfield, the only England youth team to lose over the international break. Jayden Dans of Liverpool scored the goal. Kind of a bit of a shame that he didn't get a loan this season. I know he was involved in the Carabao Cup for Liverpool this week, but feels like minutes are going to be hard to come by. He's clearly a real talent. No highlights available for this game. I do notice that in the match report, Samuel Ameyor of Strasbourg, formerly of Southampton, he was mentioned plenty, I imagine playing off the right wing. So this squad is always a bit of an in-between. These are all players born in 2006, so they're all 18 or 19 years of age. There are a group of players from this age bracket already playing in the under-21s, and then of course you get the under-19s who are a pretty serious outfit as well. Any players born in 2005, they're still eligible for the under-21s. Obviously, some of these will have played youth football before but haven't made it into the 21 squad and aren't in this under-20s squad either. That's players like Mario Koza-Dewberry, Jacob Wright, Will Alves, Oliver Scarles of West Ham United. They are out of the youth team squads for now. We'll be targeting the 21s. In this squad, you've got obviously a real mixture of players. Not too many players with loads of senior first-team experience at this stage. We've had Zach Abbott of Nottingham Forest mentioned to us a few times, young centre-back, as someone with a strong future. Aidan Heaven of Manchester United, we've seen him a couple of times, haven't we? Law McCabe is a midfielder from Middlesbrough who's gone on loan to Argyle in League One and should get some minutes. Lewis Orford did a similar move from West Ham to Stevenage on loan. Kieran Morgan, someone that's played quite a lot of minutes, possibly the most senior minutes of anyone in this group of QPR, is in the squad. Jayden Dans, as mentioned. Ethan Wheatley, the Manchester United striker, who's starting games for Northampton in League One, is there. Joel Ndala as well, on loan at Hull from Forest. Plus, as I mentioned, Ameyor, who now plays for Strasbourg. Look at the under-19s. They had 3 games out in Spain. They beat Ukraine by 2-0. They drew 3-3 with Spain, and then they finished off by beating the Dutch by 4-1. You absolutely love to see that. What a run we are having against the Dutch at all levels, male and female, senior level, youth level. Absolutely great to see. The headline really is Chelsea striker Shim Mahuka, who scored 5 goals in 3 games here. He's scored 5 goals in 4 PL2 games for Chelsea so far this season. Look, we are always going to be focusing on our striker depth across the international game and in the youth levels. And when it comes to Shim Mahuka, he's only 17. Here he is playing for the under-19s. His goal-scoring record is pretty ridiculous. He scores thumping headers. He's got good size about him, and he's someone that we should be really, really excited about. I think this age group looks particularly exciting overall as well, outside of Mahuka. I don't have so much knowledge about the goalkeepers and the defenders. You've got people like Harry Amas, who's making his first steps in senior football out on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. Stephen Mfuni as well of Man City is a real youngster playing up a few levels here. He is a very highly rated defender, 2008 born, where most in this squad are 07. Then there's a couple of other outliers. Yeah, Rio Ngumoha, who's still 17, just turned 17 in fact, 2008 born, playing up a level, had that big moment for Liverpool against Newcastle. And of course, Max Dowman, born on the 31st of December 2009, therefore still 15 for a few more months and playing miles above his age group, as he has done consistently over the last few years. There's still more exciting attacking players outside of Ngumoha and Dowman and Mahuka. Bailey DePepper is someone that I'll always keep an eye on because he came through at Port Vale, got some minutes as a 16, 17-year-old, was bought by Southampton. You really want to see these guys not then get stuck playing PL2 football for another 2 or 3 years when they've already got a taste for senior football. But that's where he is at the moment, and not seen too close to the Saints first team at the moment, but it is very much part of this squad. Another number 9 with good size. And then 2 players that we have seen starting games at Championship level this season. Jeremy Monga, also 2009 born, just turned 16 a couple of months ago, playing off the left of Leicester's attack, generally coming off the bench from Avadidi, but has started games as well, and looks a serious player just as a dribbly wide attacker. And then Jay Robinson as well, new on my radar when he started the season, playing in attack for Southampton. Looks a really versatile attacking player that can kind of fulfill a few different roles. Decent size, good shooting off both feet. Someone who, Will Still's very keen on, and made it into this under-19s squad as well. There's an under-19s Euros every summer, so sometimes the squads can look a bit weird at the end of the summer with key players at the age group missing. But we'll keep a close eye on these under-19s because, they are a very exciting team. I didn't even mention, Josh King of Fulham, Chris Rigg of Sunderland, Sol Sidibe, who left Stoke for PSV, as well as a couple of other really interesting names in that group. The England under-18s are coached by Neil Ryan, who we interviewed on the pod ahead of the under-17 Euros early in the summer. This is the group of players that will be going to Qatar in November for the under-17 World Cup. The Euros didn't go that well. They were knocked out in the group stages, and be hoping to go better out in Qatar at the World Cup, which we'll be covering on the England pod. They beat Uzbekistan 3-1. They beat Morocco 4-1. They beat Canada by 3-2. And Joe, who I mentioned earlier, who really keeps a close track on all things England youth squads, said that this is probably the strongest under-18 squad he's ever seen, particularly when you consider that Stephen Mfuni, Max Dowman, Rio Ngumoha, Jeremy Monga, all playing a level up at the under-19s, but could and would be available for this team in the World Cup if selected, and if it works sort of politically, I guess, with their clubs as well. The group of players is mostly the guys that you might remember us talking about with the Scouted Football Boys when we looked at that under-17s Euros last summer, obviously without Dowman, who was one of the big names in that squad, but players like Caden Braithwaite of Man City and Janai Byfield, 2 defenders that we talked about during that tournament. Seth Ridgen of Fulham is a central midfielder that we like a lot. Louis Page has already started a game for Leicester this season in the Championship. He's in there as well. Bendito Mantato of Man United is not someone I've seen very much of, but those that I respect are very excited about him. Bradley Burrows of Aston Villa, Finley Gorman of Man City, Luca Williams-Barnett, who's a 16-year-old at Spurs, who had a very eye-catching display in the EFL Trophy against Bristol Rovers earlier in this month. And then the big name, Alejandro Gomez Rodriguez, scored all those goals at the Euros. I think he scored in every game, if I recall correctly. And he is going to be, hopefully, leading the line at the World Cup. And yeah, his star could rise even further during that tournament. Lastly, the England under-17s, well, they beat Venezuela 2-1, they beat Israel 2-1, and then they had an absolutely insane game against Germany, played in biblical rain, and with a final score of Germany 5, England 7. Pretty ridiculous, this, and it was great to see how I think the Germans took the lead early on in this game, and there weren't very many people there, but some quite big and loud celebrations from the German players and fans, which meant that basically every time we scored after that, our lads were doing a lot of shushing to the slightly sparse crowd, which I very much enjoyed. The theatre of it all. I mean, the game was absolutely ridiculous. And we just have to talk about Ryan Kavuma-McQueen. He is a Chelsea Academy player. He is, as most of our starlets seem to be at the moment, a wide forward. He is a left footer that plays off the right. In this game, he scored 4 goals between the 24th and the 48th minute. Some of them were pretty spectacular. He also set up Floyd Samba for our first goal. Floyd Samba, the son of Chris Samba, no less. Also in this squad, Mattis Eboué, who is the son of Emmanuel Eboué. Floyd, who scored our opening goal, has been in Germany youth squads as well, is eligible for them, Floyd Samba, and eligible for France as well. This is an age group where there are a lot of players that represent or could represent other internationals, teams, other nations as well. One other name to mention is Brian Maggio. Huge number 9, just dwarfing basically any other player in this under-17 age group. He plays for Metz in France, and he has 3 full caps for Luxembourg, but is able to play for our under-17s and won the penalty, which was scored by Kavuma-McQueen. So really, really entertaining game. The highlights are on YouTube. You must go and watch that and check out Ryan Kavuma-McQueen. He's been at Chelsea since he was 8 years old. He looks absolutely electric at this age group. And yeah, I was very excited watching that. So yeah, the idea behind the youth bulletins is just to keep you guys updated. Following the youth teams is something that we enjoy, but I guess when it comes to the relevance for being an England fan and mostly a fan of the England senior team, is understanding the pathways, understanding the blockages, understanding areas of the pitch where it looks like we have elite talent, understanding areas of the pitch where it looks like the talent might not necessarily be coming all the way up from the youth pathways, but maybe might come from late bloomers. I think that's all the stuff that we want to be talking about on the England pod. So I hope you have found this interesting. It's something that we'd like to do more of. We'll certainly look to do a bit of a bulletin, bit of an overview after each international break, and it'd be really good for us to know what sort of stuff you want to know, what sort of analysis or detail that you're after. We'll look to provide that where possible. We've got the Under-17s World Cup to look forward to in November, and we will be unashamedly supporting any England youth team that plays in any Euros or World Cup tournament, and we will be covering it as best we can on the pod as well, as we look to make the England pod the home of supporting England football teams basically, and we want to try and provide the most in-depth kind of 360 coverage of that for you guys. So please make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast feed. If you could drop us a 5-star rating on Spotify, that would go quite a long way. Get involved in the comments if you have any questions, or if you've got any insight or thoughts. There are people out there that cover youth football even closer than we're going to be able to, and it'd be really great to have you guys getting in touch with us, sending over any info, any thoughts, any reports that you have on any of the players that we mentioned, any players that are either involved in youth squads or could be in the future. This is what we want to do with the youth bulletins, the youth updates on the England pod. So thank you for listening, and go well.